Welcome, everyone, to the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Allie Hutchinson. I'm a staff minister at OCSL. My pronouns are she and they, and I will be your host tonight at our Wednesday night Oasis service. Oasis is a place where we gather midweek as a community to be refreshed and nourished spiritually. Most Wednesday nights, our services build on the theme from the previous Sunday, sharing science of mind principles and practices with the intention that these gatherings be informal and interactive and intimate. Our annual theme for 2025 in Centers for Spiritual Living is Rising Higher, Growing Deeper. And our monthly theme for September is Transcendent Purpose. Last Sunday, practitioner and ministerial student Maureen Milena introduced ideas inspired by this week's theme, Mission Impossible. And tonight, our speakers will continue the exploration of that same topic. If you're new to our community or watching our recording for the first time, please visit our website at oaklandcsl.org. Click on the I'm New icon and look at the lower left-hand corner of that page to submit your email address. Once you do, you'll begin receiving our weekly newsletter, The Village News. It has all the information about all the different activities that are going on at our center. Before we start the talk, please mute your microphone. It helps improve the quality of our recording and the transmission. And you can leave your camera on if you like. And please stay tuned through the end of the service to hear several important announcements. Our speakers tonight are Grady Nobles and our senior minister, Reverend Sunshine Michelle Coleman. Grady describes herself as a lifelong student of truth. I heard a rumor that she believes that started in the womb, which I think she might tell us about tonight. I think her mother was a student of Ernest Holmes, and she is a natural preacher who has been sharing science of mind teachings for decades. Reverend Sunshine Michelle Coleman really needs no introduction here. She is our spiritual director, our senior minister, and she'll be leading Miss Grady in a conversation. So let me turn this over to Reverend Sunshine because we always begin our services with a prayer, and she is doing our opening prayer tonight.
Thank you, Reverend Allie, and hi, everybody. Grand Rising, God greetings. Happy Wednesday. So glad to be with you today, and thank you for being with us. So if you would, let us come together in a moment of prayer, and I invite you to turn your attention inward by just focusing on your breath, taking a moment to bless the breath that comes in your body as it comes in and as it goes out. Bless it, for this is the gift of life that we receive and we give back. It allows us to be a part of the law of circulation, to be in the rhythm of life, in that one breath, that one life, that one harmony, that one love, that one peace, that one joy, that divine oneness that simply is, that holy presence that is eternally expressing. It is eternally vibrating. It is eternally participating in this thing called life as it ebbs and flows in that creative process where it perpetuates itself as life everlasting. And we are incarnate as it. Each of us has an authentic and an original, a one-of-a-kind signature that is only ours. Yet we are a part of this divine oneness as individualized expressions. Oh, what a blessing that is to behold. And so as we each bring our uniquenesses to the power of this collective moment here at the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living in this midweek oasis, as we call it, we do so in high consciousness, knowing that we are elevating in truth, we are elevating in love, we are elevating in our awareness as we rise higher and grow deeper. And I bless this service, this gathering, this conversation that Miss Grady and I have together, that spirit has with itself. I bless the exchange that we have and the listening that we do and the allowing that we that transpires so that that sweet, juicy nugget comes forth that heals, that we can tuck into our tool belt and we can use at another time. So I know that each and every one on this call and that watches this recording is blessed beyond measure. And those that were unable to be here, I know this is a special time that we gather here tonight. And we are so grateful, so grateful, so grateful to be alive and to be expressing here together. And as we collectively can release this word and let it go, we know that it boomerangs back to us, blessing us from every direction. And then we give it back again. So for this and the more, we simply rest this word in truth. We let it be and know that it is already. And so it is. And as one of my beloveds says, and so it begins. Blessed be. And as we honor that breath, it is my joy and my pleasure to welcome into this space Miss Grady May Nobles, one of our beloved elders, whom I came in contact when I first got here. I couldn't go very far without hearing about Gradyisms. And I was like, what's that? That's a Miss Grady beloved statement. She just blurts them out and doesn't even know she's doing that. And people start quoting her all over the place, including me. And so Spirit told me it was time for us to come together again, for you to witness a conversation that she and I have. She and I have a great time together. We laugh and we joke and we talk about science of mind, the philosophy, and about all things in life. And it just flows. So that's what this is about. We're listening in. This is unrehearsed. It's raw and unedited. And I know you're going to get some Gradyisms. You're going to get some Reverend Sunshine-isms. You're going to get some good, juicy stuff if you're listening. And it'll catch you anyway because you allowed yourself to be here. So just buckle up, as Dorothy Mendez would say, buckle up, Buttercup. And we're going to take it forward. Our, as Reverend Ali said, our theme for September that we're straddling, of course, we're in October, but the whole purpose of Oasis has been to dive deeper into what was discussed on Sunday. And we followed the Centers for Spiritual Living global themes. So the global themes for Sunday was September, even though today is October. And we might integrate a little bit of that in here too. The theme, transcendent purpose, and the theme for the week, mission possible. I thought I heard mission impossible, but I know that the theme is mission possible. And I know when you first hear about that, you think of Mission Impossible, like the show, right? Or you think of the things that, you know, the mission, is it possible? Can we do it? But, you know, if we're going to be in the premise and live from the science of mind truth that all things are possible in God, then the mission must be possible. It has to be. All things are possible. What do you think about that, Ms. Grady?
Well, you said it in your opening prayer, in terms of elevation and awareness. And that's where I feel like I've been for the past week or so. The celebration, the 80th year celebration of OCSL was wonderful. And just being here was wonderful experience. I hope anybody who's interested can, you know, go on YouTube or wherever it'll be available, and in order to experience some of it. But I just became more aware of Ernest Holmes and the fact that he was here, you know, at this place at one time. And then I got into thinking of my mother. This October is her birth month. And so I've been thinking a lot about my mother, and I thought about her all day today. And I was in prayer, and also had an opportunity to think about OCSL and all the points of contact that we are blessed to have. And so we have many things. The celebration was wonderful. Um, I know of Ernest Holmes because I feel like I first heard his voice in utero, because my mother had an unfortunate end of pregnancy. She was pregnant right before she was pregnant with me, but the doctor accidentally, I suppose, um, in delivering her little girl, crushed her skull. And so she was in the delivery room with a deceased daughter. And I became more aware of this within the past week than I ever have been aware of it. But I knew that the incident had happened because I was born 1 year and 1 day after this pregnancy had occurred. Now, I found out through a series of things, and this was after my mother was deceased. I got a death certificate, and I found out more about my sister's passing, and found out where she was buried, and found out some things about my mother's participation or non-participation in the process. That wasn't my mother. She would have been involved in her child's um, services, but she was no place involved in it. I believe that her contact, and she was a wonderful Baptist member, and that was the religion I was raised in, but there was radio at the time. And that's where I think that she connected with Ernest Holmes. And so I was thinking about it and even realizing tonight when I was, came into the sanctuary, I believe that Ernest Holmes saved my mother's life, because I don't know that she would have survived this incident without whatever she got from the radio. And so I feel like I knew Ernest Holmes' voice as well as I knew my mother's, maybe even more so. Because whatever she got, and she also leaned into unity, and got the unity literature, and that was part of her religious search, her truth, her her um her devotion to her spirituality.
Let me just interject right here, Miss Grady. So it sounds like to me, for those of you who are new or don't remember or don't know this, Ernest Holmes is the founder of our philosophy, The Science of Mind. And so that's who Miss Grady is talking about, saved her mother's life. And so, Miss Grady, it sounds like when we talk about mission possible, that from the start, your purpose, your mission became possible through these miraculous occurrences that happened. That's an interesting way to think about it, huh? It started way back then.
Oh, yeah.
Mission is possible, or else you wouldn't be sitting here with me right now.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. Keep going, girl. Now let's go.
So let's see. So I believe that my mother was able to survive and thrive because she made that connection with Ernest Holmes, and also and so therefore religious science, and also her, because she leaned into unity, and it's similar in its approach to religion and the truth. And so I recognized it wasn't until in my adulthood that I one time knew who Ernest Holmes was. I recognized his voice. And then I saw later on saw the picture of Ernest Holmes, but I recognized his voice. I knew that voice. And so I believe that I was introduced to his voice through my mother in utero. And there wasn't TV. We didn't have TV, but she had radio. And so it was a radio. And later on, as an adult, I came into contact with a radio program that had all of the greats on the show, Ernest Holmes and many other of the greats of the day on the show. And so I became aware of Science of Mind and Unity, and later on got involved in Unity at first, and then Science of Mind, churches and the philosophy and the and the preaching of the revealing of the truth.
Mm-hmm. You know what, Miss Grady, I think about what you and I were talking about on the way here in the car. We're in my office, by the way, here at the center. We have a little date thing that we do. I go get Miss Grady and I bring her back here to my office, and we have this conversation, and I take her back home. And we've started our conversation right now in the car. And it was some juicy stuff. And something you just said I want to tie back to, because I heard you say, and I wrote it down, that we can survive and thrive through connection. And you were telling me about this caring center that you had read about, where babies who are not touched don't thrive, which I have heard too. And that's why they have this hugging movement where people go hug and hold babies, because that touch helps them to stay alive. And so Miss Grady was saying it should be the same with elders, that in order to help our elders survive and thrive, we have to connect, right? And this is how we do with community, is that we connect. And then we started talking about, Miss Grady talked about the various ways that she has witnessed that we connect here at Centers for Spiritual Living, through midweek oasis, through Sunday services, through the Dr. Dan group that meets every day on Zoom, and they talk through the different readings and teachings and stuff. And there's so many other ways to connect. And don't we need that these days in order to survive and to thrive? And this helps us to stretch into our annual theme is rising higher, growing deeper. This helps us to do that and to thrive when and for us to fulfill our mission. The mission becomes possible when we can help each other to survive and thrive. Do you remember that? All
Yes,
that's connected, right? It's all connected.
Absolutely. The diagnosis babies were given was failure to thrive. They were, fed well and bathed and clothed, but they weren't touched. They didn't have cuddling, and they weren't touched enough. So some of these babies became ill. Some of them died because of lack of tactile stimulation. And so the same thing I feel can happen to some of us as we get older, because for one thing, we kind of recognize that we kind of disappear in a way in society. And also the failure, the thing about coming to church or being around people, and I even recognize Zoom as a way to touch and agree, so to speak, because it's a way to make contact. And so we now have after Sunday, there's prayer to connect with. We can have prayer available. We can go for a cup of coffee or tea in the education building. And we also have now a community potluck one Sunday a month. So we have that now again. And so there are other points. I'm not familiar with all of the groups that there are, but there are several groups that people can get involved in, during the week. And I belong to the Dr. Dan group. And so we go through a process where we study Dr. Dan, we go through the Deborah Purdue books and have a reading from them. We do Science of Mind 365, and that is another exposure I've had to Ernest Holmes, because he is lofty in this the teaching he does, but in this 365, it is so clear for me and on the page, and it's all truth sayings. It's so easy to get involved and to feel the feeling. I just love it, and we are able to get through this information and communicate with each other, and it's a growing experience, and I appreciate it. Every point of contact that we have the ability to have in the community that we're involved in. I love it. It's wonderful in terms of my growth and my connection and my humanhood and my spirituality. It's rewarding, and it's warm, and it's welcoming.
And I did not pay her to say any of that. And Miss Grady always comes prepared, right? She has all her stuff with her, and she had her gala bag. She had her 80th anniversary gala bag,
Yes.
chock full of stuff. She has all those books that she mentioned, plus some other stuff. I'm telling you, she comes prepared to give y'all the word. So I just love it. And what else do I want to point out? Two things. I know Melina, who spoke on Sunday, was talking about hope. Remember, we talked about hope in the car, and she was connecting that to the mission, and how the mission then becomes possible through hope. And so hope to me is kind of aspirational, like you're reaching for it, and it's also a way to keep yourself focused, right? This is the way that you can keep yourself focused forward. And when you realize, like we were talking ahead of the start of this with Jamie, we were talking about some of the things that Jamie has put in place in their lives to refocus, right? So that they can get back on center with hope. Not to say that they were off center, but that's what this philosophy is all about. If we realize that we've fallen off the horse, off the wagon, wherever you fell off of, how can you glean lessons learned from that and let it be okay that you fell off the horse, because that's a part of the experience of life, and come back up whenever you're ready to get there with that place of hope, because you're refocusing. Because as Dr. Margaret used to teach us, once you know, you can never not know again. In other words, it's in there. Once you know, let yourself know the truth, that light switch is on and it doesn't go off. So we can refocus when we feel like we've fallen out of alignment, and then hopefully we become wiser for it, right? Because we apply. How do we get back up? We apply our spiritual principle. Isn't that right? There's no way you can get back up without praying, without doing some affirmation, without remembering who you are and whose you are. You think so?
I agree, and I know I've fallen off the hope horse recently, and with all of these things that are going on, and I got off balance, and then I feel so overwhelmed. It's disorienting to me to come away at all from any sense of hopelessness. And so I can't fall off the hope horse, or if I do, I have to get back on, or else I'm just overwhelmed and just out of it. Like I feel disoriented and I feel off balance. physically
Mhm.
off balance, as well uh, as out of my sense of feeling hopeless. And it's just not a place that I want to ever be again.
Mm-hmm. And you know, don't you know, Miss Grady, that you know the way the world is going right now, there's a probably a lot of, what do you want to call them, in whatever category other than what we're in, you know, folks that want to pull us off the horse. They don't want us to be on the horse. They don't want us to know our power. They don't want us to remember who we are. But they're not in charge of that. And remember, we were talking about in the car of an example that you gave in your own life, and it where, you know, and I do it too. It's like we allow people to take us off our game. Like somebody might say something to you, and then you say, oh, well, I might as well give up then. Aren't we giving in? Aren't we giving in to what they think? To heck with that, what they think, really. But we have to be sure enough within ourselves in order to be able to say, well, they can think that about me. That's up to them. But here's what I think about me. And to realign ourselves and get back up and keep on going. And that is what is going to help us ascend. I believe that's what's going to help us rise up. That's what's going to help us fulfill the mission that's possible. It's always possible, but we have to play into it. You know, that phrase that goes, treat and move your feet, meaning spiritual mind treatment. That's our affirmative prayer and science of mind. But what it says is do treatment, do treat. But don't just wait around for God to do everything. If you hear it's yours to do, then go do it. That's part of moving your feet, you know? So we have to participate in life. You agree with that?
Yes, and you mentioned realignment. And it's either this month, I believe was last month, was National Suicide Prevention Month. I heard a lot of talk in various places about um, people committing suicide and what happens with people. One of the subjects came up as bullying. And I didn't realize that bullying has continued to be such a huge thing all over the place, not just children in school and on the, you know, the media feeds, but in adults as well, that people are bullied on jobs and in all kind of, or by in a home, you know, relatives bullying other relatives, friends, you know, bullying friends. um it's a horrible thing to, you know, that people have to put up with, and that can just lead people to hopelessness and them taking their lives.
Yeah, yeah. And so how do you combat that? What is your recommendation?
Being in some kind of supportive community is one way, if a person can. So in our community, there are all kind of points of support. And so it's a matter of getting someplace or getting with a practitioner, coming to, you know, church and getting a quick prayer session, meeting with a practitioner, or going to some kind of social agency that offers some positive support and some forward path.
Yeah, that's a and having your tool belt. Matter of fact, you know, this is interactive. Perhaps this is where we didn't talk about the questions you want to ask, but maybe here's one we could pose and we can bring the audience in. And I love the way you say the hope horse. You know, falling off the hope horse. You know, it's not only just falling off the horse; it's falling off the hope horse.
Right.
Oh man, you're in bad shape.
I know. I've never actually been on a horse, but I love horses. I know I love horses, so I take that.
So that's a way to feel hopelessness. That's what we're talking about.
Yes.
And when you said that, that made me think of, I've read studies. Matter of fact, my son Freddie on the line was participating. He did some art thing. I don't know if you can speak to that or not, Freddie, about loneliness. There was this study, there's been all these studies about so many people, it's an epidemic of loneliness, and that's why there's this whole movement around kindness that you see is helping people to overcome this sense of loneliness and hopelessness, like you said, that causes high rise in suicide and what have you. So my question to all of you, just to throw open the mic, is for some discussion, is have you ever experienced hopelessness, whether you've fallen off the horse or whatever, loneliness or anything like that, and how, whether, if you're willing to admit it, and how do you overcome it? Maybe we can generate some tools for all of us. Is there anyone willing to come off mic and share? She just put that in the mic. Okay. I know somebody is going to engage us.
I'll say something.
Oh.
I mean, we were talking about the community and everything, but that it also has to start from the inside. You have to have that impetus to know that there is something that you could do, like by creating community or whatever. And the word alignment is always the one I resonate with. It's sort of like when things are not going well, I think we have a tendency to kind of get stuck on, we add story to it. Oh, this is always happening. This shouldn't be happening. It's because there's something wrong with me. I'm a bad person. God doesn't like me, you know. And then the image that comes to mind for me is like, if you're in alignment, it's like going down a 6-lane freeway, and if you start to get off alignment, you get a little early warning sign, those little white bumps on the side of the road. And then if you don't adjust, you get the gravel flying on the side of the road. And if you still don't adjust, you're bumping along in the grass, running over that hubcap that somebody else lost. And, you can either continue with the story and make it worse and worse, or you could just say, oh, I'm not in alignment. And that's the basis, right? And I think it's a chicken and egg thing, because if you're in community, you're more likely to get those reminders and to think, oh yeah, I just need to get back in alignment.
Right. Thank you, Rev Ali. Miss
Yeah.
Lula.
Well, last Sunday, I went to visit my friend who just moved to a retirement home. And I just saw her like 3 weeks ago. And the decline was just so, she just wasn't herself. I mean, just simple things. And I was with her for about 2 hours. And when I left there, I was so sad. I just could not, I was just so sad. And I was going to go do some errands, but I said, no, I have to go home because I was getting ready to do a pity party. But then I realized I came home and I listed the all the right reasons that she was there, and and just made a gratitude list for her and for me, and I felt so much better. I really, gratitude is really one of the tools I try to use often. I'm complete.
That is so good, Miss Lula. I think that's probably one of the reasons we're studying it together as a community is gratitude, right? We're basking in the gratitude. Thank you for offering that. Andrea. No. You have your sound down? You're off mute, but we can't hear you. No. Freddie, what did you do to take yourself to lift your speaker up before?
For me, that was on my end.
Oh,
Like how you can turn up the volume, I had just turned off the volume.
Oh, is that what you did?
If you're still having issues, you can leave the Zoom room and then maybe come back in and see if that'll reset it.
Okay, well, we'll bring you back in when you come back in and let you have your statement. You want to try it? No? Yeah. No, still can't hear you. Okay, well, thank you for participating with us. You know, Linda made a copy for me and I want to read it to you. I read it to Miss Grady and she really was touched by it. Dr. David Alexander, when he was here on Anniversary Sunday, was looking through his notes and couldn't find the Ernest Holmes poem in the 1926 version of the Science of Mind textbook, which Linda has in the bookstore now. I don't think she has many copies, but anyway, he said it's kind of buried in there somewhere in a place you wouldn't expect a poem. Some of y'all might remember that. And it's like around the index or between the appendix or something like that. Anyway, she made a copy for me and it's called The Call. And he recited it, Dr. David did, by memory. And so I'm flattered that he, knows this by heart. But check this out, and then I will see what Miss Grady has to say about it. It's called The Call. This is by our founder, Ernest Holmes. This I saw, or else some inner presence made it known to me. The universe is filled with life. The air, the sky, the sea, teem with intelligence, with majesty and might. And deep within me, some subtle inner sight beholds and sees, comprehends and knows the all, nor fears nor falters, but answers the divine call. To be as one beyond the bounds of time and space, to overcome the bondage of the human race, and leap with trust undaunted, free, into the depths of that infinite sea, whose waters calm are ready to receive those who in simple faith believe. Isn't that lovely?
Mhm.
And I don't know what you said before about it, but you have anything to say about it, hearing it again?
It's wonderful, and I think that part of what we do in the Dr. Dan group is to read Deborah Purdue and in terms of the gratitude study. And I'm a person that um, likes to stay in the bed and snuggle up and stay warm. But it has me going to the window in the morning and opening up the blinds and opening a window and looking out and making sure that I noticed it, the day and appreciate and be in gratitude of the day. And so, before this gratitude study, there's no way to get me out of the bed and to a window and open it. But now I do. And I'm in gratitude for the day and all I see and experience in that, even the cold wind blowing, all of it. I just take it in and I'm grateful for it.
Beautiful. And when you heard me read this, you thought of something you had written. It came to mind about humanity. Do you remember it yet? No,
I don't. And I know I wrote it down. And so, but it's important because I use the word. The words humanity, I remember writing it down. And so it's in some of my journaling. So I'm going to get it.
Yes, for sure. Very good. Is there anything you want to ask the audience, Miss Grady, about anything we've been talking about?
I'm going to go to the physical body and say, what's your conversation with yourself? Because everything you say to you and you feel about you, every cell in your body gets to hear that and experience that. So it goes in the area of self-care because we have these magnificent machines and we have responsibility to care for them in any of the ways that we can. And so our responsibility is there and we have to take our body seriously because we can't be here without them. So I'm kind of on a crusade in that area too, to do better, to nourish myself physically, but to nourish myself, through my mind and my heart and my feelings as well. And self-care. Self-care is important.
So what are you asking them? How they do self-care? What they
Yes,
do for
yes. What
self-care?
do you do? Yes, for your own uh, tool bag of self-care tools,
Which helps them with their mission possible, right?
which help. Yes, yes, with with your mission possible.
Okay. All right. How would y'all respond to that? Let's hear from somebody. And these days, we all need to do some self-care, like big time. And, so how are y'all staying grounded during these times? How are you staying sane? How are you staying out of fear? Yes, is that Clint's hand that's being raised?
Yes, it is. Uh,
Hi.
Hi, it's a pleasure to really be with you all tonight. I'm a longtime member. Uh, Probably have not been active in this church in a while, but I was around during the time of Orrin Moran, and also my teacher was Margaret Stewart. So I've been around for a while, but I have not been, active at we used to call it First Church. But
Yes.
um,
Mhm.
so anyway, but what occurred to me was that what I do is, and I really appreciate the comment about falling off the horse,
Yeah.
the hope horse. Big, and I especially enjoyed the service this last week. But for me, I look at how do you know when you've fallen off the horse? Well, whenever I'm experiencing worry, doubt, and fear, anger, disappointment, all of those negative vibes that somehow or another take us off the horse.
Mhm.
And so when I experience that, I know that that's the moment in which I'm separated
Yeah.
from the divine presence that's in
Mhm.
me, from the divine spirit that lives in me. And so it's a reminder that you know what, divine spirit, divine presence is always forever there. It's just that we get caught up in the human experience
Yes.
and we're living day to day. And so it's just quite naturally you're gonna fall off the horse. That's just I think that just goes with the human experience. But what I do is I just engage in self-talk. And so one of the self-talks is that, I'm grounded in knowing that the divine presence, the divine spirit lives within me, and that I am a clear and perfect channel, and light is my guide. And
Mhm.
so that's my like, get up kind of thing and get back on it. And as a reminder, but that's really what I see a lot of times is just that we just forget, that the divine presence that's in us, is of us, but it is greater than us. And I
Mhm.
think that's what happens to people is that, they just forget that that divine power, that divine spirit is capable of everything. And I especially enjoyed the comment that the minister made when she said, and she used the Star Wars experience and just saying, "Help me,
Mm-hmm.
Spirit." I
Mm-hmm.
think just that acknowledgement that you're asking for help, you know that that help is there.
Yeah.
And that also acknowledging to that spirit that you are my only hope.
Mm-hmm.
You are my hope. And I think oftentimes people think when they think about hope, you know, they're giving up. I don't have any hope and so forth. But I think when you allow yourself to live and speak and have a relationship, be in connection with that divine spirit, and it does come with, do you believe it? I believe it. And it has helped me, you know, whenever I've find myself on the ground and the horse looking down at me like, get up, get your back on this, let's get going.
Get going.
As you know, so anyway, I just wanted to share that for me it's the self-talk, but it's the belief and knowing, you know, that that divine presence is forever presence in me.
Yes.
And all I have to do is remember to speak to it.
Remember to speak to it. That's right. That's beautiful, Clint. Thank you so much and welcome back. We appreciate that. We have time for one more. I saw Rev Deb's hand. Are you still there, Rev Deb?
Yes, I'm still here. Good evening.
Mm.
Miss Grady, good to see you, and thank you for your question. And for me, what my go-to is like I realize when things seem out of whack, like when I start my day or something and I'm starting to work or whatever, and it doesn't feel like I'm in alignment, that reminder is I hadn't meditated. So I needed to go. Sometimes I may just go sit back in my car and just quiet my mind and just be still and check within, check divine spirit within me. And, you know, to bless this day, to bless whatever it is that I'm walking into. But I have to steel myself and truly, you know, I call the I am, you know, that I am, I am. And I check in with that often. And so that's my go-to. That's one of my go-tos anyway. My other go-to is when it seems crazy, I go to the water and I hang out at the water and listen or write or whatever it is that comes to me. And I am complete. And thank you for your question and good to see you both.
Thank you, Rev Deb.
Thank you so much. Okay, Miss Grady, we have 3 minutes left. What do you want your parting comments to be?
Well, I'm thinking about what Rev Deb said, and my formula is really every day. And when I stick with my formula, I do okay. Pray, meditate, and journal. If I do those three things in any amount, 1 minute in each area, 1 hour in each area, it varies from day to day. But if I just stick with that, and then I really stay more in alignment. And so that's what I aim to do. And my overall thing right now is when I feel overwhelmed, what can I do? I can pray. I can vote and I can love. And so I will see people like passing in front of the house and just say, God bless you, or just send love. And so I try to, if I'm not avoiding the TV and in the news and so forth, I just send love, send love, send love, send love. And and um and it helps me stay in alignment.
That's beautiful. Y'all heard her say in the midst of all that to vote, right? So we have a vote coming up. So let's do that. And Andrea is having a problem with her audio, but thanks, Freddie, for asking to, you know, put the comment in the chat, which he did, and that says, I think it is important to ask for help. It is also important to ask follow-up questions of others to solve problems of loneliness, isolation, and hopelessness. So if we can get off of that pity pot party that Clint mentioned, and actually in his comments, and I mentioned it in a sermon a couple weeks ago too. You know, sometimes we just, misery loves company some kind of way. When we're on that pity pot, boy, we really want to drum it up big, you know. But if we can get off of that for a minute and ask for help, which means to be vulnerable, which means to be willing to have people see us in a form that they might not usually be used to seeing us, right? Let us be vulnerable enough to say, I need some help. Help me. Like Clint mentioned that Maureen was talking about, help me, show me. I believe all you have to do is open your heart to your ancestors, to spirit, just to your higher team, as I call them, to say, help me, show me. I don't know how, but I know you know how. So show me within me, give me the direction to go. And once we open up, we're leaning in and it's showing us the way. So with that, we're at our time. And thank you so much, everybody, for participating. We want to thank Miss Grady as well. We both appreciate you very, very, very much.
Yes, thank you.
All right, Rev Alley, back to you.
Yeah, lots of love to both Reverend Sunshine and Miss Grady.
Thank you.
So we're going to move now into our, I'll let all the hearts subside. Here we go. Move into our announcements. This Sunday, October 5th, join Reverend Dr. Sunshine Michelle Coleman, who will be speaking on the ultimate glow up. The meditation starts at 10 and the service is at 10:30. And I just lost all my announcements, but they're going to be coming back in just a second. Maybe. There we go. Today we honor Yom Kippur, Yom Kippur, which is the holiest day of the year in Judaism. It occurs annually on the 10th day of the Jewish month of Tishrei in late September or early October. For Jewish people, it is a holiday that is primarily centered on atonement and repentance, and repenting so that your name is signed in the book of life for the next year. The memorial service to honor and celebrate the life of Reverend Dr. Francione will be held at Oakland CSL this Saturday, October 4th at 11. The service will be live streamed. Go to oaklandcsl.org, look for the icon that says services, and click on the YouTube link under the Sunday services to connect to the event. The Social Justice Ministry meets on the first Sunday of the month after the service, and the next gathering is this Sunday, October 5th. National Hispanic Heritage Month is an annual observance in the U.S. from September 15th to October 15th, and we are observing that. The observation began as a week in 1968 under President Lyndon B. Johnson. The fifth of 6 sessions of the Women's Spiritual Empowerment Group is on Sunday, October 12th after the service. All the women in the community are welcome to attend. Go to oaklandcsl.org to the groups page for more information. The Social Justice Ministry is hosting a 4-week virtual book study on Mondays, October 13th through November 3rd, from 6 to 7:30 p.m. We are featuring Dr. Robin DiAngelo's newest book, Nice Racism: How Progressive White People Perpetuate Racial Harm. Please visit oaklandcsl.org/event to register and join the conversation. So after experiencing some tech difficulties in September, our virtual social hall will return on Sunday, October 19th. This will be on Zoom for 30 minutes or so immediately after the service. This is a chance for OCSL to nurture and honor its online community, and it's a chance for our online participants to meet and mingle, share thoughts and stories, to get to know each other or reconnect with old friends, and have a greater experience of community and connection. All are welcome. You can find the Zoom link in the Sunday service chat on the live stream, or click on the virtual social hall icon on the events page of the website or the icon in the Village News newsletter. Our next Quick Start class is coming up Saturday, November 1st from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. This is required for anyone who wants to become a new member, along with the new member orientation on November 15th. It also serves as a really good refresher or primer for Science of Mind teachings for anyone who's new to the philosophy. Registration is coming soon, and this is a free class, so please mark your calendar. Our nonprofit partner for September and October is Planting Justice. Planting Justice is working toward economic and environmental justice by building a network of sustainable, land-based social enterprises. They counter systemic oppression, violence, and inequity by creating good jobs with nature-based work, a healing environment with holistic community support, and real opportunities for personal growth. And for more information, you can go to plantingjustice.org. The Oakland Center Nonprofit Partners Program provides a platform where we can feature, support, and introduce our members to nonprofit organizations each year. Groups whose values and vision are in alignment with those of the center are selected, and we highlight and contribute to different nonprofit agencies throughout the year. Applications for the 2026 program are open. To learn more and obtain an application, please visit oaklandcsl.org, select About Us, and scroll down to Nonprofit Partners. The Spirit Treasure Bookstore celebrates October at the Make an Offer table. We're clearing out so we can bring in new books and merchandise and create spaciousness. Please let us know what you would like to see in the bookstore by writing to bookstore@oaklandcsl.org, or you can add your suggestions to the sign-up sheet at the cash register if you're there in person. And now I'd like to turn this over to Reverend Sunshine for an important special announcement.
Thank you, Rev Ali. I appreciate it. Friends, I have made a decision with some other input that we are going to give our Wednesday night Oasis service, this service, a pause so that we can regroup and reassess. It takes a lot to put on this particular service, and I want to thank our co-hosts, Reverend Ali, Judith Roberts, Paul Prosciutti, Reverend Sally Bartholomew, and others. We've been going since the pandemic. And our viewership has declined a little bit. And it's interesting that we have a couple newbies here or returning folks here tonight. And so I invite you to our Sunday service, and there's lots of other things for us to do. And I just believe, I keep hearing from Spirit that it's time to give it a rest for a moment and then come back to it. So I want to thank all the presenters, our tech team that has helped over time, our administrative team, our hosts and our co-hosts and participants, all of you. And this will be in our newsletter. It'll be in our Sunday announcements. So if you come here and thinking you're going to get Oasis starting next week, you won't be able to tune in. But there's lots of recordings that are out on our YouTube channel that you can watch as well. So stay tuned for more information as we come back revitalized and refreshed. Back to you, Rev Ali.
Thank you. And now is our conscious giving time. Conscious giving is a celebration, an expression of gratitude, and a spiritual practice. In giving, we celebrate our community. We express gratitude for all the folks who give of their time, talent, and treasure to sustain it in all sorts of different ways. We also acknowledge our place in the flow of universal power and abundance and put our intentions for greater experiences of abundance into action. So in that spirit, please follow along as I read the giving affirmation. And if you're muted, please feel free to read aloud if you like. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies this offering. It blesses all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I circulate. Thank you, love, as me. And so it is. So we have various ways that you can donate. If you go to our website and click on the red donate button, it'll bring you to a page that'll show you all the different ways you can give by check and cash and Zelle and text and just about any way you could possibly want to give. and we would appreciate it no matter what form it comes in. And now we'd like to show our appreciation for those who have offered their time, talent, and presence to tonight's service. Our speakers, Ms. Grady, Nobles, and Reverend Dr. Sunshine Michelle Coleman. And also our thanks to Reverend Sunshine for doing our opening and closing prayers. Tonight's tech host, Freddie Lambright, and working in the background, our administrative coordinator, Steve Carter, who prepares our slides. And now I will turn this back to Reverend Sunshine for our closing prayer.
All right, friends, thanks for staying to the end. We're just going to spill over just a couple more minutes, but you know, we like to open and close in prayer, so you might as well stay for your blessing by now, okay? All right, so as we come together in this sacred circle, once again, we do so from that heart space of love. We do so from that place knowing that the infinite and divine presence that is everywhere present, here, there, and everywhere, is also seated right in the center of our soul. We live it, we move it, we breathe it, whether we acknowledge it or not. And since we acknowledge it by practicing in our spiritual practices and in the science of mind philosophy, it grows us, it lifts us, it helps us to rise higher and to grow deeper. And we are eternally grateful for all of our blessings and for the continued expansion in awareness and consciousness to help us to know that the mission is possible. It's always possible because all things are possible in the infinite realm of spirit that we play in. And so we just simply continue to open ourselves and know that should we fall off the hope horse, that there is hope right there because it's always seated within us. Once we know that divine spirit of truth, we can never not know it again. And we simply say, help me, show me, spirit, how to get back up on this horse, how to get back up on a different horse or have a different mode of transportation or whatever it is that takes me to the next level in ascension. And so we give thanks for this. We give thanks for this midweek Oasis team. We give thanks for this opportunity to take a pause, to take a breather, knowing that we come back more vitalized, revitalized, stronger than ever. And so I bless everyone here, everyone watching this recording, knowing that we are under divine safety and protection always. And I simply, in gratitude, in so much gratitude, release this word, just letting it go, knowing that spirit catches it and laces it with love and law, and that it casts down, so casts up, casts down, and all around all the blessings that we could ever behold. And we do so now, knowing that our cup runneth over and we go get a bigger cup. We get a bigger vessel to continue receiving our good and our abundance. We are so grateful for this and the more. And so it truly is. And so it begins. Blessed be.